Well, g'day guys. I hope you're having a great start to your term. Back at school, maybe back to work. Whatever you're up to, I hope you're having a great week. My thought for this week comes out of some preaching that happened a week or so ago on a Sunday by Rob Whitaker, and he made a comment, and he was talking about the life of Abram, or Abraham as his name later changes to, and it says this. He says, Abraham ends up in a holding pattern. And we're not like that. We don't ever get into a holding pattern. I think we do. One of the teens came to me after that sermon and said, I think that's a really good message for our church. We're holding patterns. They hold us back, don't they? They really do. They stop us walking with God and we get stuck. And what got me thinking is, one of the things that Rob said was, it's kind of like when you're on an aeroplane and you're following the outer marker. You're using a lot of fuel but getting nowhere. And holding patterns are like that. You burn a lot of energy in a holding pattern. You burn a lot of just life in a holding pattern. And you're not getting anywhere. And I really want to tackle this. Why do we get stuck in holding patterns? Because I think this is really important for us as teenagers, as middle agers, as old people to go, why am I stuck in this holding pattern? Going round and round and round. Same old, every time. Stuck going around. Why does that happen? Well, I want to suggest a few ideas on why we get stuck in holding patterns. The first one, and I think this is one of the biggest ones, it's fear. You knew it was coming. It's that 4-letter word that strikes fear in our hearts. It's fear. We don't step out with God because we're too scared to step out with God. We don't break out of the patterns in our lives because we're too scared of what may or may not happen. And I know people who have stayed in a dead-end job for years and years and years, absolutely miserable because they were too scared to make a change. And I think that's really sad. I was reading a book the other day about a lady in a dead-end job, and she really wanted to be a lawyer, but she was too scared to step out and do the training and become a lawyer. And somebody said to her, what would you regret more? Having lived a life in a job you hate, or having tried and failed, or tried to do something more? And she decided to step out. She's now a lawyer. She's got a fulfilling career. I don't know how you're fulfilled as a lawyer, but then that's not for me. And, she steps out. And she's not in a holding pattern in her life. Everything starts to click and flow. When you're stepping out and following God, everything starts to click and starts to flow. And we don't because of fear. This is what Jesus says to us to sort of change that. And it's in Matthew 17:20, and it reads this. He replied, oh, hold on, better stop and check what he's replying to. Basically, what happens is the disciples come to him and go, this kid's got a demon in him and we can't get rid of it. And Jesus then, sort of goes out, and the demon leaves, and the disciples go, well, why did it work for you and not for us? And he just looked to them, and then he says this. He replied, because you have so little faith. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Nothing will be impossible, but we get held back in fear. It's kind of like the little animal, it's crossing the road, the lights shine, and they go, and they don't move, and they get hit. I remember just recently I hit a hare on the road. It obliterated my front bumper. Obliterated. It was all due to its fear. It ran across, it had passed the car, then got scared, ran back and got hit. We do that too, by the way. We step out, we get scared, we go back. Why do we go back? Well, because I think it's comfort. We like our comfort. Let's face it, in the world today, you can buy chairs called the Lazy Boy. You can buy chairs designed purely for comfort. It's all about comfort in our life. What makes you comfortable? Funny story. A group of prisoners. They escape out of prison. And you think, wow, they're free and they're ready to go. Except they steal a whole bunch of alcohol and escape back into prison. See, they were comfortable in prison. They just wanted to make their prison a little bit more comfortable. We're not like that, are we? No, we're just like that. We always try to make our prisons more comfortable. We're happy in our little hole, even though we're miserable, even though we're unhappy, even though we don't want to step out because of our comfort. We want to be comfortable. And what happens is over time, we just get comfortable where we are. Which leads me to my next point. And I'm rattling through these because there's so many points that hold us back, so many things. So I might actually do another blog in the future where we talk about some of these points at more in depth. Comfort. We have arrived. That's the next thing that holds us back and gets us stuck in a holding pattern. The mentality that this is as good as it gets. And we sort of go, we don't strive for anything better. But what happens is we get into what we call maintenance mode, where we just try to maintain our comfort. We just try to maintain where we're at. We don't want to move forward anymore. We don't want to go any further with God. We're comfortable. But after a while of being comfortable and, like I said, just burning energy, getting nowhere, we start to wonder what's the point. We start to wonder why. And we start to fall away. The next thing that I think holds us back is the pursuit of perfection. You're like, wait a minute, Pete. Wait a minute. If we're pursuing perfection, surely we're going to keep moving forward. Yes, but I think sometimes the idea of perfection holds us back. Because we can't do something perfect, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. I can't read my Bible perfectly, well, I'm going to stop reading it altogether. I can't pray in the perfect way, then I'm going to stop praying. You see, that holds us back. That pursuit of perfection can stop us moving forward. Another thing that holds us back is our capacity as people. See, we realize what we're good at, we realize what we're not so good at, and so we never try to stretch ourselves beyond what we're good at. But God is a God who stretches us. God is a God who takes us forward, sometimes painfully. And because of that, we get a bit scared maybe. Or fear comes in, or whatever. But we don't want to. We're worried that we won't be good enough on the other side. But what does God say? Nothing is impossible if you stand in faith with God. See, for all of these, faith is a huge thing. Faith comes into it. So are we running the race? The Bible has a lot to say about running the race. In fact, just in Acts 20 says this, "However, I consider my life not worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace. Do you not know?" 1 Corinthians 9:24 says, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize." In other words, strive forward. Continue to grow. Continue to move. Get out of the holding pattern. You're burning too much energy. You're burning too much fuel doing nothing. Move forward. Move forward in the race with God. Paul says this, "I wanted to be sure I was not running and had not been running my race in vain." In other words, he wanted to know he wasn't in a holding pattern, that he was following God, that what he was proposing and moving forward with, that's in Galatians 2:2. He wanted to know that what he was doing had an impact in the kingdom and he was moving forward. You were running a good race. Galatians 5:7 says, "You were running a good race. Who cut in on you to keep you from obeying the truth?" I think that holds us back too. People come alongside. This is an absolute truth, that when you step out and you start running, the people in fear, the people in comfort, the people who are settling, the people who are pursuing perfection will start to criticize you, will start to try to knock you down because they're uncomfortable with your motion. They're uncomfortable with you moving. They're stuck. They're in a holding pattern and they get uncomfortable with that and they want to knock you down. That's exactly what's happening here. Who cut in on you and stopped you running the race for God? Usually it's a trusted person in the faith who does it to you. They knock you the hardest. Don't be knocked. Have that faith that says this mountain will move. Have that faith that connects you with Jesus. Finally, Hebrews Hebrews 12. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders us and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run the race with perseverance marked out for us. It's something we have to do. The sermon on Sunday was about work, a 4-letter word. Guess what? You have to work. That's probably another thing that keeps us in a holding pattern. We don't like work. We don't want to work at it. We don't want to grow. We just want it to be downloaded. How often have you prayed, Lord, just download it to me. Tell me what I need. Give me the skills that I need. Now, God does do that, especially on that capacity stuff. Because He stretches us and He grows us and He teaches us. But it takes work. It takes effort. It takes energy. Unfortunately, it takes more energy being in a holding pattern. Because you get nowhere. You don't get that feeling of achievement. I just wanted to raise one last thing. Fear. It's the number one. How do you overcome fear? Well, I believe the antidote to fear is faith. There's an old song that says, take it to the Lord in prayer. Take it to the Lord in prayer. If you're a fearful person, if the smallest things make you worried, pray about it. Guys, we've got to get out of the holding pattern. Churches try to put people in holding patterns. Other Christians will try to put you in a holding pattern. Don't let them. Run the race. Run your race. If it's of God, you will succeed. You will. Because He's with you. He's behind you. He's ready to pick you up. Anyway, guys, that's enough time. I'm running out. So have a great week and I'll catch you later. See ya.